Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy, a podcast for women across the globe to share wisdom, advice, and just have some meaningful conversations. So, today's guest, we have Clarie Marie, who is a primal health coach, a female empowerment coach, and founder of Femmway, which is a business empowering women to be fearless and fierce. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here. I'm very excited.
Look, it's great to have you here. I love what you do. We've had a little bit of a chat beforehand. But look, for the listeners out there who may not be aware of you and your business and what you do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you got to where you are?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, in my former career, I was in England a professional dancer, dancing in musicals and stuff like that.
Wow.
So that was one side of things. So we did lots about, and then I became a dance teacher, choreographer, things like that. Then I got swept off my feet by a tall, handsome Australian, and
Oh.
and here I am in Perth now. I have two children. One is 16, a daughter, and a son of 12. And I did teach for a while I was here. But then having the kids, I wanted to be more involved with them. But while I was bringing my children up, I fell into health coaching because I watched a TV show called Hungry for Change, all about nutrition and health and the benefits that it has and the damage that eating the wrong foods do and things like that to our health and wellness, our lifestyle choices and things. And I fell into a rabbit hole because I've got so interested about this, and that's what inspired me to take my Primal Health Coaching certificate and find out all about that. And so I started helping friends on the side, coaching people on the side about health and wellness. And it really tied in with my dance teaching as well because of the exercise components and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But just still there was something kind of not quite right. I mean, I was doing all the things as a woman, and I just was still not feeling like woohoo, like some of the people, some of the people, they go, oh, I did this diet, and all of a sudden I felt like fantastic. And then I hit my 40s, and as you do, those things start to creep in, all the perimenopausal stuff. And I went on a weight loss like adventure, and I stumbled on a guy, funnily enough, a guy called
Yeah.
Dr. Jade Tita, he's an endocrinologist, and he has developed a weight loss program based on women's hormones. And he talks about menopause, perimenopause, and even just the regular hormones for women and how they affect us. And I was like, what is he talking about? I had never heard this before. And so that also led me to again dive into, he sparked curiosity, and I dove down into what's this about women's hormones and it making things change for us and our weight loss and things like that. And oh my gosh, it was just mind-blowing how everything we are and everything we do as females is affected by our hormones and therefore our menstrual cycles. And I had this light bulb moment going, so that's why my health coaching has never sat properly with me, because how can you teach women about weight loss? How can you teach women about healthy living or making good choices or even talk about mindset and stuff if you are not aware of the hormone cycle? And I'm not just talking about like the 1 or 2 week, the 1 or 2 days when you have PMT and then you have your period, which is all that most people talk about. But every single week of our cycle, we change in so many different ways. And I got angry because I was just like, you know what? I'm in my 40s. How have I not known this? How have I not known my brain changes? My my fitness levels change, my capacity changes, my speed changes, even my vocal ability, whether I stutter, whether I remember things. It's everything we are, aside
Yeah.
from the moods and emotions. And I have obviously now I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I was just like, gosh, you know what? If I had known everything that I know now, because when I say I dive into a rabbit hole, I literally spend months and months researching. It's a massive hyper focus. I just was like, wow, I need to know everything there is to know about this thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted her to understand, because I was just like, my whole life, looking back, there was so many things that would have been different for me in how I talk to myself, how I manage things, how I set boundaries, how I just even interacted with people would have been different if I had known how how everything underpinning my life is affected by my hormones.
Mm.
So I wanted to find a way to explain it to her, that was easy to remember, that made sense. And also because I have a son as well and husband, that we could talk about with the boys, because I do find, um, well, my husband is definitely, the men are squeamish when you talk about girl stuff. They're not,
Yes.
it's not something that they will happily have a conversation with. And I wanted to create something that would, be easy to talk to the boys about as well, and help them to understand what was
Mm.
going on. So I created my own system with my health coaching, underlying knowledge and stuff, that would help our family understand everything that there is to know about being a female with hormones, and how it changes everything we are. And
Mm.
um, that's what I have kind of, it's now my passion, it's my mission, because do you know what? Every female should actually understand herself really, really deep down. And it's my,
Mm.
I love the Dalai Lama does a quote. He has a quote saying, "The world will be changed by the Western woman." And I love that quote. And I truly, truly actually do believe that. But I
Mm.
think part of that is, how can we change the world if we don't understand wholly and truly ourselves,
And
on a
because it
day-to-day?
has, yeah, it has over history. It's been pushed down and hushed, and we don't talk about it. As
Yes.
you say, it's kind of a male society for, I guess, a long time now, where women are
Yes.
just
Yeah.
kept at
There's
home. We're in the
still,
kitchen. We be quiet. We do as we're told. That kind of, I mean, obviously, it's not like that now.
yeah.
Things have changed quite a lot. But I love that in this day and age, we have the platforms and the confidence, and there's a lot of women who are ready to embrace that and get that wisdom out there, and really shine as in their female, I guess, essence and everything that it entails. So, and I love that you want to be able to have a way to share with the male generation as well, because
Yes.
I mean, I've got a son, so I mean, I won't be going through, I guess, that thing with a daughter, but I think it's really important. They don't have to know all the nitty gritty, but just understand your difference in energy levels and just everything that it entails, because it really helps the family dynamics as well, I
Yeah.
imagine,
Yeah.
because you can complement each other and everyone knows what's going on, and there's no, um, yeah, and there's no sort of, I can't
There's
think
a
of the
lot
word.
more give and take. There's a lot more give and take, and understanding, and just awareness of who we are as people, kind of thing as well.
Mm,
I mean, my son is amazing. He's 12, and we've been talking about this for a good few years now, but he will ask me, he'll go, "Mama, what phase are you in?"
oh, that's
and
cute.
and sometimes it's for his own, he's a cheeky rat bag. Sometimes it's for his own benefit. Like sometimes he'll go, "Oh, I'll come, you're in freedom, I'll come back next week, I'll don't worry about it, I'll ask you later." Or he did this, and this surprised the living daylights out of me. He went, "Mama, when are you in Harmony?" And I was like, "Well, why is that, bud? Not till next week." And he was like, "Oh, okay. So when you're in Harmony, can we go shopping?" I was like, "Why is that, bud?" And he went, "Oh, I've noticed that you tend to spend more money on me when you're in Harmony." And I was just like, "Dude, what is that?" But that he's so aware of me and how I changed through the
Yeah.
cycle that he's more than happy to talk about things, and he knows, with his sister, oh, okay, she's in this phase, so I'm gonna be a bit more gentle with her at the
Yeah.
moment, and those kinds of things.
I think
it's
that's so
it's
beautiful that you
perfect.
have that open communication in your family with both sides. I think it's beautiful that he can grow up and be confident and explore things and understand women, because when he grows up and he finds a
Mm,
partner or a wife, he'll be able to understand, and he will be, an even more, I guess, an even greater partner, being able to
yeah,
understand those
and
different.
supportive too. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's so beautiful. So,
yeah.
you mentioned before you are a primal health coach as well. What is that exactly? I haven't actually heard of primal health coach.
Okay, so Primal Health Coach was the Primal Blueprint was developed by a amazing guy called Mark Sisson, who he used to be a long distance runner and triathlete and that kind of stuff. And he got to the point where he was supposed to be this really healthy person, like a lot of people that have the discoveries, and he had developed health problems, and it led him down a rabbit hole of, what does a human being need to be healthy and happy and live a long time?
Yeah.
His motto is live long, drop dead. That's what he wants to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Instead of dwindling into a decrepit old age for a
Yeah.
long time, he wants to be as fit and healthy, as strong as possible, and then just go one day.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is based on like ancestral health. So what did human beings evolve to need to be healthy and happy and live a long life? And so part of it is food, and it is similar to paleo in a way, but there are it's a lot more free, and it's not as restricted and that kind of thing, but it's more about fresh food, natural food,
Yeah.
cutting out all the crap and eating clean.
And in a way, it's common sense, right, to eat things that
It
aren't
is, yeah,
highly
yeah,
processed with high sugar. Now that a lot more people are becoming aware of what is actually in our foods, like, I think a lot of us have been ignorant to a point where we don't
yeah,
really know, and we don't know, they have so many different names for things, and we've been
yeah,
putting all these things in our bodies that have potentially been affecting us that we didn't really know. So I'm actually on a journey at the moment to go through organic only,
yeah,
because my son is very hypersensitive to sugars and additives and things like that. It changes his behavior and his health dramatically. And I also have an autoimmune disease. So I'm finding you're going back to
yeah.
those core kind of basic meals that we're humans, that's what we're supposed to eat, not all these man-made
Yes,
chemicals.
that's it. That's it. Before convenience food became a thing,
Yeah.
And I watched a thing one time, and it said, do you know what they've done? Studies that say, do you know, who cooks your food makes a big difference to your health. So if your mum is at home cooking your food, as opposed to you getting it out somewhere, even if it's the same meal,
Mm.
the home cooked basic ingredients will be much healthier than the shop bought ones that are full of preservatives and sugars and things like that. And my mum, when I grew up, my mum did cook everything. We had baking day was Sunday, and she cooked everything that we took to school. And it was that's how it was. But now it's not. You just grab it off a shelf and throw. And we're not.
Mm.
It's convenient and easy because life is so busy now, but it's actually like it's detrimental to our health. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, unless they have a problem, they don't realize it,
Mm.
because it's not part of everyday education, so to speak.
Yeah. And even with our children in regards to schooling, having those additives and high sugar levels and high fats, there's obesity, there's anxiety, there's
Yeah.
lack of focus. There's more and more children are going down the path of needing, I guess, assistance in some way with focus and mindset and that kind of stuff, because these foods and these additives
Mm,
actually have such an enormous effect, and so many people don't realize. And I
yeah.
myself didn't realize, with my son being so hypersensitive, I just thought maybe that's part of who he is. And in some ways it is, but I've noticed with certain foods there's a dramatic change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Absolutely. And if you've got things like too, like ADHD and stuff like that, what you eat does hugely affect your brain.
yeah,
Um, and I've done, because I have ADHD, and I have watched many things now, and it is coming out now. Specialists and ADHD doctors and specialists in America and Harvard have done studies on it, and they are saying, you know, good healthy proteins, natural foods with no low sugar, no processed stuff, you know, as little, if it's got a whole list of ingredients, it's probably not great for you. That's
Yeah.
the thing, you know. And it's like, an apple is an apple, it's a food, you know.
Yeah.
So and those kinds of things make a difference to your brain and your moods and all of that kind of stuff in so many ways that
Yeah.
we have never been. It's not over the last, I would say, maybe 50 years or so, it's just been kind of pushed aside in sake of
Mm.
convenience.
And, you know,
So
a little bit at a time is a little bit, like I was talking to someone the other day, we just a little on the packaging, it might be such a minute thing, it's not going to affect you, but there's an accumulative effect from all the different things you eat, not just that over time.
yeah.
And, you know, like you say, in the last 50 years, there's a lot more, I mean, there's other reasons as well, but there's a lot more incidences of, you know, high anxiety, depression, mental health, just so many different things. Yeah, so I mean, I could talk about this stuff for ages because I'm very
Yes, I know.
passionate about it as
And
well.
what we learnt in the Primal Health Coaching thing, that our body composition, so what our bodies are, 80% of what our body is made up of is determined by our food. 80% of our health and well-being is determined by our food. So it's
That's
like,
massive.
if you're trying to lose weight, going for a run is not going to do it. You know,
Yeah,
exercise and fitness is not for weight loss. It is food, and 80% of who we are as people, you know, and then the rest of it being sleep, exercise, lifestyle choices, not doing stupid things, which is all encompassed in the Primal Health Coaching Blueprint. It's not just about food, it's about all of the
yeah,
other things as well. But 80% is food, and that's a huge amount. And then adding on with women, if you have ADHD, and then cycling too, when you menstrual cycles, what you eat in the different phases makes even more of a difference, especially if you're trying to lose weight or deal with anything else. So
yeah.
which is another added piece of the cake, just purely for females.
And then you add
So
menopause on top. If
oh
you get to
yes.
that age,
Oh,
I mean,
that's a whole nother ball game. Do you know what you can do? And I have done this with my cycling information. It's like you have the stock standard. Okay, if you are a female in the reproductive age of your life, this is how your hormones work. Mostly, I mean, every single female has a unique hormone profile, you know, so it's all very individualized, but this is how it generally works. But then you hit 40 and it's like you wave that goodbye, and it's a
yeah,
whole nother ball game
you
all
wave
on
lots of
itself.
things
It's like
goodbye.
a whole separate program. My husband likes to say, you know, all of the phases that you've nicely mapped out. He said, when do you hit like perimenopause, especially right towards like the end, so like from 48 to like 51 or what have you. He said it's like you take that dial that you've created of your phases, and he says, and then you just spin it, and it's potluck to see where you end up. And that's menopause. Yeah.
Or you might get every different phase about 3 times a day.
Yes, yes. And I am, because I've been going through that and dealing with that as well. And then again, if you have again like ADHD on top of that, it compounds it even more. So I am doing a separate group or core, you know, core message for women in their 40s. I did do an
Yeah,
event a little while ago, Fierce and Fearless in Your 40s, because it is a whole completely life transformational period
it
that
really
nobody
is.
talks about. And it's not only with the physical side of things. And this is what upsets me too. Most mainstream people, when they talk about menopause and perimenopause and stuff like that, they just talk about hot flashes, and it's like, do you know what? Hot
That's
flashes, meh, whatever. You know, as a because I do live a primal lifestyle, I don't get hot flashes. That's not a problem for me.
yeah,
So I was like, okay, so does that mean that's the only thing that goes on with menopause? And I'm like, but I feel so wrong and confused and not like myself. And what is going on with me? That I couldn't find a lot of information for, because I wasn't doing the hot flushes thing. And now there are some women coming out. There's been a doctor that did a massive, big scientific experiment about females' brains when they go through perimenopause, and
Mm,
our brains actually completely physically change. We lose glucose levels, we lose gray matter, we lose white matter, and our brains are actually rewiring themselves, which causes so many of the menopausal things that generally are not talked about. So it's a big journey, and
yeah.
something that you can't just cover up with HRT or cover up with
Yeah.
antidepressant, because
You have to do the work and process it as well. I mean, all those things are kind of band-aid effects in a way. You still
yeah,
need to process and work through what's happening with your
yeah,
body, your emotions, your spiritual, your mental health, everything.
yeah.
Um, and I noticed
It's a
when,
journey.
I sort of started experiencing a bit of change that, I've had extreme PTSD in the past. And like I said, I didn't realize the effects. I would have so much effects on my mental state, in that my PTSD, I've done a bit of research on this. It's almost like it came back again. And
Mm,
apparently that can happen during menopause when it kind of just resurfaces. And I didn't understand, because it's been 10 years since I've had it. And now it really took me by surprise. And that was something I wasn't aware of. Um, so I've worked through all of those things now, but it's just, there's so many different things that women aren't aware of.
yeah,
And everyone's different. So it's really hard to kind of navigate through, which is why these conversations are so important,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And to make it commonplace. And who cares if people get embarrassed about talking about it, because it needs
Oh
to be
no,
dealt
do you
with.
know what? I'll talk about everything. It's fantastic. And it's a shame too, because the amount of time and the amount of women that I've spoken to that have gone, well, I went to the doctor and the doctor said this, and you just go, really? That's it? Like, I went to the doctor and the doctor went, oh, I'll just go take some St. John's wort, you'll be right. And I'm like, really? That's all you've got? And then I had another friend, and she gave me a month's worth of HRT and went, that'll do you. You'll be okay after that.
Yeah.
And it is because it is so um under researched, and literally I was listening to a podcast, funnily enough, by an amazing woman called Dr. Stacey Sims, who is like at the forefront of physiological research on women and their cycles,
Mm,
and how and also menopause, and how much we are affected. She said, and this is so sad, it's literally been the last 5 years 5 years that women's research is starting to be taken seriously, because they don't want to do research on women, because we don't fit into a perfect results made um, framework, because
mm.
and she was told this, oh, we don't research on women because we can't get consistent results, because you have hormone cycles, so they
And
just
we're the
haven't done
most
it.
important piece of humanity in some ways. We bring life into this world. We guide new beings through life and help, other generations. And we have the men have their own sort of role and crucial parts that they play. But, we grow human beings in our body. We
Yeah,
must learn to understand ourselves and what happens. And so we
yeah.
can, it's just crucial. It's silly that it hasn't been done
I know,
previously.
I know. And the
You
the
know,
other thing too is that, do you know what? We are freaking amazing. We are absolutely
yeah.
amazing. And it gets so downplayed and gaslighted what we have to cope with on a day-to-day basis, and how we have to manage and deal with so many things. And we're not given, well, we don't give ourselves the compassion and the grace to go, you know what, you're doing a great job
Because
considering
we've
that
been
everything that
conditioned
you
that way,
have to
right?
go through. Yeah, because we've been told, oh, you suck it up, you're a woman, you just suck it up.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was trying to explain to my husband the feelings that a woman can go through, or the effects that our hormones have on us. And I compared the hormones to caffeine and sedatives. And I explained the whole. I said, okay, so do you know what? Because most guys that work, they like their coffee, right? So they like, okay, I need to, my brain's not awake until I've had my coffee in the morning, and then when I get to work, I have another coffee. It keeps me going. It gives me that buzz. It helps me get through the day and stuff. And I was
Yep.
like, okay, so imagine that so if we said at the beginning of the month, you were allowed to have like maybe one sip of coffee a day. That's all you were allowed. And then the next day you could have a couple. And then maybe a little bit later you could have a whole cup. And then maybe like by the time you get to day 10, you can have like 2 cups of coffee. And then you get to day 14 and then somebody goes, right, no more coffee for you. And so the next couple of days you have no coffee. But you don't get to decide how much coffee you have. You just get no coffee. And then a couple of days later, you can have a little bit more, maybe half a cup. But then at the same time, you get given a sedative. So you can have that bit of coffee, but then you'll have a bit of a sedative. And then the next day, you have a bit more coffee, but then some more sedatives. So your coffee and your sedative are fighting each other. And then you'll go on like that for about a week. And then both of those things, the coffee and the sedative, will get taken away from you for another few days, but you have no control over how much coffee and how much sedative. They just get given to you. He was just like, oh, that sucks. And I was like, dude, and that's a very, very simplistic version of what we have to go through every single month. And
Yeah.
he was
And
just
then there's
like,
the other things that come with it.
oh, then there's so much more than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just to try and get him to understand, like, you're not in charge of your coffee. You don't get to decide how much you have to make you feel good. And then you have the sedative at the same time. He was just like, oh, okay.
And you've just got to deal with whatever life throws with you at the same time.
That's it.
And,
yeah.
You know, I love the way that you explain that to him, and it really it's a good way to explain it, I guess, to males.
Yes.
So it doesn't kind of embarrass them or what have you. But so I just want to touch on a few things. So I know you've got a few things coming up. You are speaking at the Every Woman's Expo, which when this podcast comes out will be a couple of weeks away. So tell us a little bit about that. What are you speaking about at the event?
So I am being interviewed on a thing called On the Couch with the lovely Louise Towler, who's
she's amazing.
She's a beautiful, wonderful comedian and coach and amazing woman. And so On the Couch, they have so it's for 3 days, and each day they have a separate theme. So the first day is, I think they're talking about body image and how you dress and all of that kind of stuff. And then we're doing health and wellness on the day that I'm coming in. So she's going to interview me with another lady about health and wellness. And generally she loves me talking about the cycles and how much they affect women and all of the things that we are that are affected by our cycles and the different phases that I have kind of created. I mean, they're there, but I've kind of used my own words and methodology behind it that works for me and my family. So she likes talking about that, and so I'm being interviewed to talk about that, and I'll be there all day on the Saturday at the stand. And I am developing a little fun quiz, which is find your favorite Femmway archetype. So my Femmway phases are four phases that I call wisdom, daring, harmony, and freedom. Are the 4 phases that we cycle through every month. And so I've done a little quiz where you can fill it out, and it will tell you what your favorite archetype is, kind of thing. I mean, we're all a bit of everything, but yes. And then I am working in the background at the moment, developing a course to help women and a couple of workshops, because I do workshops. I've done them at chiropractics and for like teenage youth groups and things like that for girls. Like I went to Standing Strong and did a workshop there, just because I think it's really important that women understand that they are so much more, and it gives them, people that have gone through what I teach them say that they feel so much more compassion for themselves and self-awareness, and they can be a lot nicer to themselves because they understand why they're doing or feeling what they do. So,
and it really kind of changes, I imagine, your perception of your past self as well, like you were saying at the start, and realizing that things could have been so different had you been a bit more aware of yourself and a bit more
yes.
compassionate with yourself.
Yeah.
So look, I think it's wonderful that you're sharing the sharing with the audience at the Every Woman's Expo, and you have some amazing workshops, and I think you have a download on your website as well. So for the listeners out there
Yes.
who want to learn more, who want to do one of your workshops or come and see you at the expo, what's the best way to contact you?
So my website is femmway.com. So FEMM way.com. And my social media. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram as Femmway Life. So those are both there, and I pop up around Perth in different places and things like that. But I am creating a couple of online workshops so that people can sign up for free and do the training online if they are elsewhere. I mean, I did a test course a little while back, and I had a couple of ladies from South Africa. I had a couple of women from England. So, that's the brilliant thing about online nowadays. You can help people wherever they are.
Yeah,
It's great. So,
it
yes, and
is.
I'm always building more and more stuff, because do you know what? It's just really important. I think when women feel great about themselves and feel secure in who they are, it gives them more power and advocacy to speak for what they want,
Yeah.
because I just, for example, it's like, I don't know if you ever have been to the gym or gone on a fitness thing and stuff, and you go, oh my gosh, this week I didn't do very well in the gym today. I was a bit tired. I was trying to lift, but the weight last week I was absolutely caning it. I was lifting the weights. I was feeling great and strong and powerful. And this week I haven't done anything different, but I can't do it. I'm not lifting. What is wrong with me? And that's what women
Yeah.
do. What is wrong with me? I'm broken. I'm useless. I can't do it. There's something wrong because I'm not the same as I was last week, and I should be the same. And no, we shouldn't. It's completely a myth that has been perpetuated by our culture, because that's how it is. We're taught, every day. And this is something I like to say too. If you think about it, every day we're taught every day is the same. If you think about a picture of the sun, we're taught every day the sun comes up, the sun goes down, sun comes up, sun goes down. Week in, week out, month in, month out. It's the same. And that's what our culture has been designed on, which is, funnily enough, very similar to the men's hormone cycle of testosterone. So every day, it starts in the morning at its peak, and then it slowly drops down. And then next day, it's the same. Every day, the same. But women, if you think about a picture of the moon and you see her, sometimes she's a tiny little slither, and
Yeah.
then she gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until she's this beautiful full thing. And then she goes and goes and goes and goes until there's nothing. And that is what women are. With our hormone cycle, that is what it creates inside of us, is this rhythm and this pattern. But her energy, she changes every day. She's different. She waxes and wanes, and she gets bigger and she's smaller. And that is what our hormones create within us. And once you kind of understand that, you can go, just even if it's like retrospectively, you can go, why wasn't I so good in the gym today? Because I'm in harmony.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's what I'm supposed to be. I know my stamina is less, and I know I'm not as resilient. So I don't need to beat myself up. I don't need to question myself or worry about anything. And then that gives you a lot more space to do the good stuff and the things that you need to, because you can give yourself that awareness and that strength, and to go, you know what? I'm not going to meet with the in-laws today because I'm in freedom, and that would go really badly. So, so I'm going to wait till next week and meet them when I'm in a better frame of mind, and
And
you have
it'll
more
really
control.
complement your life and your relationships. And
Yes.
I love that how you explain, we're like waxing and waning, we're like the moon, and it just kind of shows on such a primal level that we are, beings of this earth. We cycle as the earth does and as the moon and everything. So it's actually really beautiful that we get to experience that. So
yeah,
and it's even more
it is.
beautiful if we are empowered to understand ourselves a bit more. So, look, thank you so much for coming on the show. I could chat to you for we might have to do another podcast.
Yeah.
But look, for all the listeners out there, I'll be putting the information in the bio below, and come and check Claire out at the Every Woman's Expo in Perth. It's on, I think, mid-June?
Mid-June, yes.
Mid-June.
The 22nd, I think it is. Yep.
Yep, and you've got a lot of workshops and everything. So, look, reach out, and thank you once again for being on the show.
You're very welcome. It's been lots of fun. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. And for all the listeners out there, we'll be up again soon with more episodes. Enjoy. Bye.